Most men live their lives chasing comfort, chasing admiration, chasing the illusion of safety. They build their identity on approval, on social validation, on the fleeting praise of women and peers. They are enslaved without chains, and they do not even realize it. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He saw the subtle tyranny of the world, the way society demands compliance, the way it punishes those who refuse to compromise their strength or their truth. But there are men who refuse this quiet slavery. Men who carry the weight of thought too heavy for most to bear. Men who see the world in its raw, unflinching clarity. These men do not ask for comfort. They do not seek approval. And because they cannot, they are isolated. Their pain is solitary because it is profound. Their burdens cannot be shared without diluting the intensity that defines them. This is the truth Nietzsche revealed. Strength is not measured by physical power, nor by charm, nor by wealth. Strength is measured by the courage to face existence in its purest, most brutal form, alone. And with this courage comes suffering that is private, invisible to the casual observer. Society misunderstands it, women fear it, and most men cannot even recognize it in themselves. To endure this pain is to be alive in a way few dare. To accept it is to awaken, to see life unfiltered, to stand in the terrifying clarity of truth. And yet, most will never endure it, and most will never awaken. This is the solitary path of the strong man, a path that offers no applause, no warmth, only the raw confrontation with existence itself. Nietzsche was a man who lived perpetually at the edge of human endurance. Born in 1844 in a world still shackled by tradition, religion, and social expectation, he experienced life with a clarity that was both a gift and a curse. His health was fragile, his mind razor-sharp, and his solitude profound. Yet it was this very solitude, this distance from the comfortable illusions of ordinary men, that allowed him to see the patterns beneath existence, the hidden rules of suffering, strength, and human weakness. He wrote not to entertain, but to provoke, to expose, and to challenge. He understood that the price of strength was loneliness, the price of vision was alienation, and the price of truth was pain. At the heart of Nietzsche's insight is a paradox that every strong man encounters. The deeper your understanding, the fewer there are who can walk with you. The more your mind penetrates the illusions that comfort the masses, the less society can recognize your courage. To see the world unfiltered is to live in a kind of exile, a mental wilderness where few dare to follow. The ordinary man thrives on distraction and conformity, but the strong man cannot. He cannot ignore the rawness of existence. He cannot suppress his awareness of mortality, futility, and human hypocrisy. He feels the weight of life more acutely than those around him, and this weight is private. Consider it like a mountain that no one else can see. Others may wander through valleys, enjoying the sunlight and the warmth of familiar paths. But the strong man climbs alone. He knows the wind at the peak is cold, that the rocks are jagged, and that no hand will reach for his. The climb itself is excruciating, yet he climbs because to stop would mean surrender, would mean compromise, would mean the erosion of his very essence. Society may call him arrogant, misunderstood, or unfeeling, but these judgments are irrelevant. They do not alter the immutable reality that the path of strength is solitary. Nietzsche's own life was a testament to this principle. He moved through Europe as a wandering scholar, often isolated from friends and lovers, perpetually confronting ideas that unsettled the comfortable norms of his age. He wrote of the Übermensch, the overman, not as a theoretical abstraction, but as a symbol of human potential tempered by suffering. To become an overman is not to be admired by society. It is to endure a relentless internal discipline, a confrontation with the self, a willingness to experience pain as an essential companion rather than an enemy. The strong man's suffering is subtle, invisible to most. It manifests not as dramatic anguish but as a constant tension, an internal reckoning with life's contradictions. He observes the hypocrisy of social approval, the weakness of those who live for comfort, and the fragility of fleeting affection. He understands that love, loyalty, and companionship are not guarantees but luxuries. Every choice to remain strong, to remain self-aware, distances him further from the world that cannot bear his intensity. Modern examples echo this ancient truth. Consider a man at the peak of his career, intellectually and professionally dominant, yet unable to connect deeply with those around him. His friends seek casual distraction, his lovers seek warmth without challenge, his colleagues accept conformity. He moves through a world of shallow engagement, acutely aware that no one truly sees the depth of his struggle. His pain is private, his clarity is isolating, and yet it is this very clarity that defines his strength. The stronger the man, the fewer those capable of walking alongside him. The strong man cannot soften his awareness to appease others without sacrificing the very essence that makes him strong. Nietzsche warned that attempts to dilute one's insight for the sake of comfort lead not to peace, but to decay. Pain, in this sense, is not a flaw, it is the price of perception, the cost of depth. The world is structured to reward conformity and to punish self-awareness. Strength demands endurance, and endurance demands solitude. In this light, pain becomes not a symptom of weakness, but a mark of profound vitality. The strong man experiences life fully, acutely, without shields or illusions. Every rejection, every misunderstanding, every alienation is amplified, not to punish, but to purify. He endures not because suffering is enjoyable, but because the path of true strength cannot exist without it. To deny it is to betray oneself. Even relationships are reframed under Nietzsche's lens. Affection and intimacy often presuppose compromise. The strong man cannot compromise his internal truth without eroding his strength. Women, friends, and society at large may find him unsettling precisely because he refuses the comforting illusions they rely on. He is not cruel, he is aware. His pain is a constant companion, a reminder that the path he treads is solitary, unavoidable, and necessary. Ultimately, Nietzsche teaches that strength is inseparable from isolation. Pain is the medium through which clarity is forged. Solitude is the landscape in which the strong man navigates life, unflinching, unyielding, and profoundly aware of the fragility of those around him. To endure alone is not a failing, it is the defining characteristic of the truly strong. The stronger the man, the more he must accept that no one can carry his burdens for him. In the modern world, the solitude of the strong man is amplified, though often invisible. Society, with its endless distractions, social media affirmations, and constant pressure to conform, has created a maze where the truly strong feel increasingly isolated. The ordinary man can mask weakness with fleeting approvals, likes on a post, casual friendships, or shallow relationships. The strong man cannot. His mind does not bend to illusions, his awareness pierces through them, making everyday life a landscape of subtle, invisible trials. He experiences the friction between himself and a society unwilling to bear the weight of his clarity. In relationships, this isolation becomes painfully obvious. Women, like all humans, are drawn to strength but also cautious of it. A man who understands life deeply, who confronts its complexities and refuses to dilute his insight, can feel both magnetic and threatening. This is not a flaw or a misalignment of character, it is a consequence of his awareness. A strong man's intensity exposes vulnerabilities in others, the comforts they rely on to feel secure, and the discomfort this evokes can manifest as distance, skepticism, or fear. In essence, women sense the unyielding depth in such men, and while they may admire it, they are often unprepared to match it. The stronger the man, the more he is destined to walk alone in intimacy, because true depth demands confrontation with the self above all else. Socially, the strong man is preyed upon in subtler ways. Weakness is rewarded in a world of compromise and mediocrity, while strength is misunderstood or resisted. The man who sees through conventions and questions authority threatens the collective comfort of others. His ideas, his convictions, and his unwillingness to conform make him an outsider. He experiences ridicule, isolation, and suspicion, not because he desires it, but because his awareness does not fit neatly into the expectations of modern society. To survive, he must endure the judgment of those who cannot perceive the invisible weight he carries, the mental and emotional discipline that defines him. Consider the workplace. A man of extraordinary intelligence, vision, or insight often encounters colleagues who are distracted by politics, ego, or the shallow markers of success. His ideas are met with envy or fear rather than support. A strong man cannot bend to appease, cannot dilute his clarity to comfort others. He suffers quietly, aware that no one else can carry the responsibility of his understanding. The path forward is solitary, and yet it is the only path compatible with genuine strength. Personal growth for the strong man is inextricably tied to endurance. To ignore suffering, to seek comfort at the expense of clarity, is to erode the very foundation of strength. Nietzsche warned that attempts to escape pain, to follow the masses blindly, create a hollow life, one devoid of authenticity and depth. True strength arises from confronting suffering deliberately, embracing it as a teacher, and using it to refine the self. Every disappointment, every misunderstanding, every alienation becomes a tool for sharpening resilience, for deepening insight, for reinforcing the solitary discipline that defines him. Even daily life carries its burdens. The strong man perceives the fragility of those around him, the compromises they make to avoid confrontation, the illusions they cling to for comfort, and the fleeting loyalties they offer. He feels the invisible weight of expectation, to compromise, to conform, to soften himself for the sake of ease. But he cannot. To do so is to betray the very principle of his existence. Endurance, in this sense, is a moral and psychological imperative. Pain becomes a marker of authenticity, a signal that the self has not been surrendered to convenience or conformity. In intimate connections, friendships, and professional alliances alike, the strong man must navigate a world built for mediocrity. The stronger he is, the more he stands apart. Women may be drawn to him but recoil from the intensity of his insight. Friends may admire him but fail to grasp the private discipline he maintains. Colleagues may respect his mind but resent the standard of rigor he silently imposes. This isolation is not a punishment, it is a natural consequence of living in alignment with truth, rather than with comfort. Modern culture offers numerous illusions of companionship, yet these are insufficient for a man who must endure pain alone. Social media creates a constant feedback loop of shallow validation, but it cannot replace the silent vigilance of a man confronting existence directly. Romantic gestures, casual praise, and professional recognition are superficial comforts compared to the internal reckoning the strong man must maintain. His suffering is internal, private, and invisible, and this makes it all the more real. This is why so many strong men are misunderstood, feared, or left behind. They are not inaccessible by choice. They are too honest, too aware, too vigilant to compromise the rigor of their insight. Society rewards ease and punishes depth, but the strong man persists. His endurance is invisible to the world, yet it is the crucible through which his character is forged. Every challenge, every rejection, every moment of misunderstanding is a confirmation that he walks a path few are willing or capable to follow. Relationships, work, and social life become mirrors reflecting the necessity of solitary endurance. In every rejection or misalignment, the strong man recognizes the price of his clarity. In every compliment or moment of admiration, he understands that true connection is fleeting, and cannot replace the work of self-mastery. Pain is not incidental, it is the medium of his life. It sharpens perception, reinforces independence, and crystallizes the profound truth Nietzsche articulated: strength is inseparable from solitude, and clarity comes at the cost of companionship. In essence, the modern strong man lives between worlds. He moves through society, observing, understanding, and participating, yet he remains untouchable in the sense that his inner life cannot be fully shared. Others cannot carry the burden of his awareness. They cannot endure the clarity he experiences daily. This is both a source of alienation and a marker of authenticity. The stronger he becomes, the more he must accept that solitude and pain are inseparable from his existence. To endure alone is to live fully. Endurance alone is not a passive state, it is an active discipline. Nietzsche's philosophy is merciless in this regard, demanding that the strong man confront life without compromise, without escape, and without reliance on others for validation. The lessons are simple to state but brutal to live. They are warnings carved into the structure of existence itself, rules for navigating a world that fears clarity and resists strength. First, accept that pain is inevitable. Do not seek to avoid it or to dilute it with distraction. Every strong man will encounter moments when the weight of solitude, of responsibility, of insight, presses against him with crushing force. These are not failures. They are markers of authenticity. Attempting to bypass them through comfort, indulgence, or social approval only ensures stagnation. The strong man must embrace suffering as an inseparable companion, as a tool that sharpens understanding and reinforces discipline. To run from pain is to betray oneself. Second, cultivate an inner sovereignty. Do not rely on society, on friends, or on lovers to validate your strength. Approval is a currency for those who fear clarity, and dependence on it is a subtle surrender. The strong man must find authority within himself, a compass that is unshaken by the fleeting judgments of others. This is why Nietzsche emphasized self-overcoming. The strongest man is not defined by the world's recognition, but by his ability to endure, to act, and to think independently in spite of it. Third, embrace solitude without resentment. Isolation is the natural consequence of depth. The stronger your mind, the fewer people who can walk beside you in full understanding. This solitude is not a curse. It is the space in which the strong man refines himself. It is where clarity is forged, where resilience is cultivated, where insight grows untainted by the expectations of the weak. Loneliness is a crucible, not a punishment. Fourth, do not soften your awareness for others. The world will always pressure you to conform, to compromise, to dull the intensity of your perception for the sake of comfort. Resist this impulse. To yield is to erode the very foundation of strength. The strong man must remain fully awake to life's truths, even when they isolate him from those he loves or the society in which he operates. Integrity demands it. Fifth, channel your pain into growth, not despair. Suffering is not an obstacle to be removed but a medium through which mastery is achieved. Each rejection, each misunderstanding, each moment of alienation is a lesson in self-discipline, in resilience, in endurance. The strong man transforms isolation into insight, and adversity into wisdom. This is not optimism. It is the rigorous acknowledgement that pain is necessary for the cultivation of greatness. Finally, understand that true connection is rare. Women, friends, colleagues, none can carry the burden of your insight. Relationships will reflect, misunderstand, or even fear the intensity of your presence. Accept this as part of the reality of strength. Love and companionship are luxuries. Solitude and discipline are necessities. The strong man's task is not to be universally loved, but to be authentically himself. In practice, these lessons demand constant vigilance. The strong man must confront life with uncompromising clarity, endure suffering without complaint, act independently without expectation, and cultivate a depth that the world cannot fully comprehend. This is not a guide to comfort or popularity. It is a blueprint for the solitary life of profound strength. To summarize, the strong man lives by a few unyielding truths: embrace pain, rely only on your inner authority, accept solitude, resist the delusion of your awareness, transform suffering into growth, and recognize that authentic connection is rare. These rules are not suggestions. They are the natural laws of existence for anyone who dares to live fully, to see clearly, and to endure without compromise. Nietzsche's philosophy is merciless because life itself is merciless. The stronger the man, the sharper the edge he must navigate, and the deeper the solitude he must endure. Nietzsche's truth is uncompromising. The path of strength is a solitary one. The stronger a man becomes, the fewer there are who can walk beside him, the rarer the moments of understanding, and the heavier the weight of existence on his shoulders. To live fully, to see life unfiltered, is to carry a burden invisible to the world yet palpable in every heartbeat, every decision, every moment of reflection. The pain is not accidental. It is the signature of authenticity, the mark of a life lived with clarity rather than comfort. The world will misunderstand him, fear him, and at times resent him. Women may admire his depth but recoil from its intensity. Friends may celebrate his successes but cannot bear the gravity of his insight. Colleagues may envy his competence yet fail to grasp the discipline behind it. The strong man's isolation is inevitable, but it is not a flaw. It is the consequence of living in alignment with truth rather than the fleeting illusions that satisfy the majority. To endure this solitude is not a choice, it is a necessity. Nietzsche's philosophy is a mirror held to the face of every man who dares to rise above conformity, every man who refuses to surrender to comfort, every man willing to confront life in its raw, unfiltered form. The lessons are stark and merciless. Embrace pain, cultivate independence, accept loneliness, and never dilute the intensity of your awareness. These are not mere guidelines. They are the unyielding framework of existence for anyone who seeks genuine strength. And yet, within this harshness lies a strange liberation. To walk the path of the strong man is to witness life fully, to experience moments of clarity and insight denied to the distracted and the complacent. The solitude that isolates him also refines him. The pain that seems unbearable becomes a teacher, and the burdens of life become a measure of his resilience. There is no applause, no comfort, no external validation, only the quiet, relentless work of becoming fully, intensely alive. Every strong man must endure this truth alone. The world cannot carry his burdens, cannot match his clarity, and cannot fathom the depth of his suffering. To live fully as Nietzsche envisioned is to accept this loneliness and transform it into strength, wisdom, and unshakable clarity. And in this acceptance, he finds not defeat, but the profound, haunting triumph of a life lived without compromise, unbowed, and fully awake.